Straight ahead on 12 News, a visit from Brooklyn Park Police that starts out with a surprise from Santa and almost always ends with hugs. Plus, preparing for a disaster.
Today is, what kind of like game day, and we're seeing everything unfold for them.
And seeing how Plymouth City employees will respond. But first, a real emergency that started in Maple Grove and ended with 2 people dead. 12 News starts right now. Hello, and thanks for joining us. It was a very busy night for Maple Grove police as they continue to investigate a shooting at a rest stop.
It happened along eastbound Interstate 94 and Weaver Lake Road. There, one man was found dead. That incident led to a high-speed chase and an officer-involved shooting. 12 News reporter Sonia Goins has been tracking down more information, and she joins us now from the Maple Grove rest stop that just reopened.
Now, Mike
Sonia?
and Alex, you could still see markings in the snow from the crime scene. Those pink markings right there. This is a very complicated case. There are 2 different crime scenes. 2 men are dead, and 2 law enforcement officers who are on paid leave after shooting at the suspect. There are also multiple agencies who are investigating this case. Right now, they tell me they have more questions than answers.
5800 for a shooting, the rest area.
Maple Grove police received a call around 1 a.m. Wednesday saying that there had been a shooting at the rest area near Weaver Lake Road.
RP saying that someone shot in the head and the face.
They spent the day looking for evidence.
When the officers arrived, they located an adult male who was deceased. He was the victim of an apparent homicide.
The suspect was spotted leaving the rest area in a red SUV with an Oregon license plate.
We had one witness at the scene that called in some very specific information that allowed us to identify the suspect vehicle.
Police caught up with the driver along Interstate 94 and the 694 split in Brooklyn Center. They tried to get the suspect to stop, but the driver kept going. Police chased him for about 20 miles along Interstate 694.
He's into the median. Into the cable barrier.
The driver eventually crashed into a median along Rice Street.
He got out of the vehicle armed with a weapon. The officers fired their weapons, ultimately killing the suspect.
A Hennepin County deputy and a Brooklyn Center police officer shot at the suspect.
Our crime scene team has processed the scene on 694.
Officials say their goal is to resolve public safety matters peacefully.
Unfortunately, 2 lives were lost today, and many other lives were impacted tremendously.
Now, police are not saying what the relation is between the suspect and the victim. Their names should be released in a few days. Meanwhile, Maple Grove police are asking for the public's help. If you have any information, please give them a call. In Maple Grove, I'm Sonia Goins.
All right, Sonia, thank you very much. A new Hennepin County 911 dispatch center is now up and running in Plymouth. The new emergency communications facility replaces the one in Golden Valley. One of the biggest differences is there is now a lot more space. Previously, 17 employees crammed into 2,200 square feet. Now, dispatch staff will have more than double that amount of room. But the biggest change is yet to come.
Probably the biggest change that we still have yet to come is by the end of June of 2015, text to 911 will be available in Minnesota. It's been required by the FCC.
There's even room for expansion. Currently, Hennepin County Dispatch serves 38 cities. That includes Golden Valley, which was added last week after previously using the city of Edina for its 911 dispatch.
Golden Valley-based Mortenson Construction hopes to transform a different part of downtown Minneapolis. Take a look at this proposal for the north end of Nicollet Mall. Mortenson hopes to build a 31-story mixed-use complex. The Golden Valley Company is one of 4 developers pitching plans for the Minneapolis-owned site. Another competing developer is proposing an 80-story skyscraper. For perspective, the IDS Tower, the tallest building in Minneapolis, is 57 stories. This morning, the city of Plymouth practiced responding to a disaster they hope never happens.
The city set up an emergency operations center at City Hall. And Shannon Slatton shows us what it was all about.
Today isn't meant to be, I guess, a report card.
Today is practice. A who's who of Plymouth City Hall is here at a mock emergency operations center.
Now we're doing a drill today in which they're actually having calls come into the emergency operations center just like they're coming from a real accident scene.
They are ready for something to happen. At this point, they just don't know what. Then the call comes in.
A Canadian Pacific train
hit one of the school buses from first student.
A moment later, every department, from finance to Parks and Rec, reacts.
Witnesses are saying that the bus actually did a full flip.
We were just inquiring about the evacuation.
We now have a confirmed fire.
Behind the scenes, a team of role players keep the reports coming in, developing the scenario to keep everyone challenged.
Today is, what kind of like game day, and we're seeing everything unfold for them and seeing how they're going to be working together as a staff.
And we even got in on the action, making media calls just like we would during a real-life emergency. Hey Brian, this is Shannon calling from Channel 12, and we were just up there.
It's a lot more chaotic than you think at first. There was a lot of people in that room that have never had to deal with stuff like this.
Clearly, we did a lot of things well. But from my observations, there's things that we could do better.
There's no way to completely be prepared for the unexpected, but this scenario of a possible oil train disaster is relevant and real.
What was important about today was working through that issue. If, something should ever occur on that track, how we would respond to it, what would the initial concerns be, and then what do we need to prepare for.
In Plymouth, Shannon Slatton, 12 News.
City staff will meet again in January to go over what went right and what went wrong.
Christmas is now only a week away, but there is still time to mail out packages. With first-class mail or priority mail, you have until December 20th to ensure a package arrives by Christmas Eve. If you're a procrastinator and don't mind paying extra shipping costs, you have until December 23rd using Priority Mail Express. And if you can't make it to the post office during normal hours, 5 Twin City locations will be open on Sunday.
We'll have Bloomington, Coon Rapids, Elmwood, Richfield, and the Minneapolis main office will all be open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Sundays tend to not be real busy, so we'll have those open for our customers that need to mail on Sunday that are working 6 or 7 days a week.
Postal officials say they've seen a 12% growth in package deliveries compared to last year due to online shopping. Still ahead, a word of warning if you're considering online charitable giving.
Then later in sports, Osseo and Champlin Park go head-to-head in both boys and girls basketball.
But first, a quiet but cold Thursday. Temperatures won't reach freezing.
Here's proof the spirit of giving is alive and well among the younger generation.
At Champlin Park High School, seniors Brittany Zavala and Salou Diallo joined their business classmates to help students in need. First, they held a food drive and collected more than 3,000 items for the school's food shelf. Then they collected $3,300 school-wide to buy and wrap presents for families at the high school. For the students, it is an eye-opener to see the need in their own school.
When I found out when we were delivering the present, it's like literally right across the room, and like usually what we imagine is someone in downtown sitting in the street hoping to get a present with their families and whatnot, but it's literally like the same person who you're getting help from in math class.
The Food and Money Drive is an annual tradition for the business class at Champlin Park. December is the most popular month to give to charities, with more than 17% of all donations coming in this month.
And technology is changing the way we give, but with easier ways to donate, there is a word of caution. We have more in today's Money Savers. Donations were up nearly 5% last year, but online giving grew by more than 13%. Elijah Kovar of Great Waters Financial in New Hope says there's nothing wrong with increased online giving. Just do your homework.
There are a lot of people putting up websites, making it look like a charity, and believe it or not, they'll take the money and then they're gone. They'll disappear after the holidays.
Kovar recommends verifying that they have an email address where you can contact them. Find a physical mailing address, and even give them a phone call. Then print a confirmation of your donation for your tax purposes. Text messaging on your phone is another increasingly popular way to raise funds because it's convenient, private, and secure.
You can click a button and give as little as $5 or $10 without even having to worry about it. Now, the research reports show that because it's so easy to give, a lot of times people aren't doing the same research about the charity they're giving to.
The Kovar says to remember there will be no receipt with a mobile donation, so print out your telephone bill as a tax record. Crowdfunding is known for raising capital for startup businesses, but websites like Kickstarter and GoFundMe are becoming a more popular way to give to charities, too. But remember, there is usually a fee of 4 to 8% of the donation.
Only 90-some% of the donation is actually going to the charity. What I recommend to people is if you'd like all the funds to get to the charity, go to their website directly.
And if you see an interesting charity on a crowdfunding site, Kovar says check first to make sure it is tax exempt so you can take a tax deduction. But that's not the only reason to give.
It's about giving something up that's yours. And I think giving so much more rewarding when you actually go, okay, I'm going to have less so somebody else can have more.
And to check out the validity of a charity, Great Waters Financial has a link on their website. That's greatwatersfinancial.com. Coming up, Brooklyn Park Police call it their favorite night on the job.
But first in sports, Wayzata takes on rival Minnetonka in a girls hockey showdown. John Jacobson is in next.
Very good basketball rivalry, but this game wasn't as close as they have been in years past.
Right. Osseo down a little bit this year, and Champlin Park really on a roll to start this year. Yeah, they certainly did. Osseo versus Champlin Park has become a very good rivalry in boys basketball in recent seasons. Osseo upset top seed Champlin Park to win Section 5-4A last March. Tuesday night, it was a much different story. The third-ranked Rebels 7-0 coming into Osseo's gym. Champlin Park starts fast. Theo John with a block inside. Marty Hill starts the break the other way. He sets up Aaron Klepner for two, and it's quickly 7-1 Rebels to start. Champlin Park's defense is relentless. McKinley Wright gets the steal on the press, goes in for an easy layup. Part of a 19-point game for Wright. Osseo battles back. Stephen Fisher draws the double team, finds J.J. Svack for the corner three. The Orioles pull within 10 at 29-19. But Champlin Park is very talented. Wright blocks the jumper, then sends it ahead to J.T. Gibson for the layup. He scores 19 points on the night. It's 54-27 Rebels at the half. Second half, and it's more of the same for Champlin Park. Wright kicks it back out to Hill for a three from the top of the key. Hill leads the Rebels with 25 points. They blow past Osseo 92-54.
It's my last time playing at Osseo, and it's our first win at Osseo since I don't know when, so it's a great feeling.
In the girls' basketball game between those same schools, the Rebels were coming off an overtime win while the Orioles were shooting for a fourth straight victory. Kiara Russell had a huge game for Osseo. She drives into the lane and scores 2 early points. A few minutes later, the junior beats her defender to the basket on the drive. She scores the Orioles' first 11 points of the game. But Osseo had a hard time stopping Rebels' 6'3" junior Hannah Krimble. She grabs the offensive rebound and scores, tying the game at 14. Former Osseo player, now Champlin Park forward, Katara Etheridge scores in the lane. Rebels trail the Orioles by 1 at halftime. Second half, and Krimble knocks down the baseline shot on her way to a 26-point night. Allison Garridge comes off a baseline screen here and pops open for a short jumper. She nets 13 in the game. Champlin Park is up. Down by 4, Osseo's Ariana Jones drains a big three-pointer to get Osseo within 1. And in a tight game down the stretch, it's Russell who comes up big. She gets the steal and layup here on her way to a 31-point night. Osseo beats Champlin Park 60-57. Big early season win for the Orioles.
It's huge. We needed this. We needed the intensity, and I feel like everybody did a great job of stepping up since there's a lot of injuries going on. So.
Now to hockey, where the Benilde-St. Margaret's boys entered Tuesday with a 3-2 record against a pretty rugged cross-section of teams from across the Twin Cities. Plymouth native and former Benilde star Grant Bessie's number 12 retired on a pregame ceremony. On to the game, Holy Family comes out flying, but Benilde sophomore goalie Ryan Bischel solid, and we are scoreless after 1. Early second period, the Fire on the power play. They cash in the one-timer by Will Guerin for the goal and a 1-0 lead. Holy Family gets another when Tyler Rock muscles in, and it's 2-0 Fire. The Red Knights will come back in this one. Jacob Homer's centering pass off of Jerry Callagher's leg and in, cutting the lead in half. Then in the third period, Mark Caskey, a really nice pass to Zach Risto for the redirect goal. That makes it 2-2. Guerin gets a breakaway for Holy Family, but his shot rings off the post. It's a great battle. This game ends in a 2-2 tie. In girls hockey, the Lake Conference is loaded again. Conference play is underway in the 5-team league. Wayzata hosted Minnetonka at the Plymouth Ice Center. First period, the Skippers on the power play. Great glove save here by Wayzata's Sarah Stelter, robbing Kelsey Crow. Late in the period, Natalie Heising skates in from the boards. Nice move inside the defender. She'll shoot and score. Makes it 1-0 Wayzata after one. And it stays that way until the third period. Minnetonka wins the face-off, and Katie McMillan with the one-timer from the blue line scores. And it's tied up at 1. No more scoring in regulation, and then in overtime. Maddie Wolfsman wins the race to the loose puck for Wayzata, feeds the trailing Heising with a pass. The sophomore buries it. Let the fun begin. Wayzata wins 2-1 in overtime for their third win in the last 4 games.
No, fired up.
Celebration, the big hog pile.
Thanks a lot, John. Up next, the big surprise started by a Brooklyn Park cop.
There's hugs, tears, and a lot of holiday cheer. We'll be right back. Time to check out the holiday spirit in the Northwest Metro. This home on Yates Avenue in Crystal caught our eye with a thoughtful manger scene. And if you know of an ambitious lighting display in your neighborhood, send us an email. That goes to news@12.tv. Well, finally, at a time of tense relations between cops and communities around the country, Brooklyn Park Police are spreading holiday cheer.
With a little help from Santa Claus, Brooklyn Park Police deliver gifts to families who could use a boost. In addition to gifts, those families receive a grocery gift card. The idea of police delivering gifts started 22 years ago by a now retired police officer named Steve Flesland.
There's a lot of places we've gone to where the people, they don't even have a chair to sit on, let alone a table. We go in and they're dumbfounded.
Donations come from many sources to keep the Santa Cop program going, and some of the families' help don't just have financial needs, some are trying to overcome difficult circumstances.
We also have a few families this year that have been victims of crime in Brooklyn Park. We had one particular case where a single mom was at a hospital with a child for a week, and when they returned from the hospital, the child's doing fine, so that's the good news. Bad news was the apartment had been burglarized.
The families do not know they're coming. It's always a big surprise, and it's definitely a favorite night of the year for the dozen or so police officers. You can understand that, right?
Yeah, pretty good duty for those guys.
Absolutely. That does it for us. Thanks for joining us.